What's up, guys? You know what time it is. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. That was absolutely insane. I don't know where you are in the world, but here in Sydney, Australia, it's Wednesday, August 19th, 11:30 a.m. We just got done streaming the Dana White Contender Series fights in our Discord. The MMA channel, I say this all the time whenever there's UFC fights. The MMA live chat in the JSB Discord is the funniest place to go. It's absolutely hilarious. All I'm gonna say is, in the JSB insiders will know this reference: a condomless whorehouse. That is the volatility of betting on the UFC, especially betting on the Contender Series. 3 out of 5 underdogs won. The largest underdog in Contender Series history won. CTE Trent Miller is in the house. And there were some absolute wars, some firefights. That was a great card. But when I say it's a condomless whorehouse, I mean it's as risky as that. Sorry for the vulgar analogy, but if you're betting on the Dana White Contender Series, just do it for the sake of the love of the game. Don't do it to make money because that shit is volatile, dude. Um, Pretty much, if you're a boxing head, don't bet on it. Like, I'm an MMA head. I'm an OG. I've been watching UFC cards since the beginning of the day. So I'm gonna watch I watch the Contender every year. So I'm betting just a little bit on the card and I'm paying attention to it during our live stream. It's absolutely entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And also, if there's anybody out there in the world of the internet on any of your social media platforms who are telling you they're UFC experts, UFC sharps, MMA, there's no such thing. Trust me, there is no such thing because the volatility of betting on the UFC is insane. You'll have your wins and losses. You know, you might hit a little winning streak, but there's no way I'm hitting 62 bets in a row like I did last year with boxing and UFC. There's just too much parity. But it's super entertaining, and it's definitely not a sport to get into gambling if you don't watch. So I have a chance. You know, we stream it, we watch it, we have experts in there, but yeah, the minute you think you have a read, the minute you think you know what the tape is looking like, you catch a card like we just saw, which is absolutely insane. That being said, let's talk about boxing, baby. We up. Like this video as you tap in. I'm gonna bring up the odds. You guys have right now as it including long par our long parlay and our quarterly parlay. Those are 2 tickets. You also have 4 tickets that are live so far in the YouTube members only section and our Patreon VIP. You have my dog of the week, a prop double. You have my short parlay, and then you have my money line double, which I absolutely love. I love Teo and Antonio on the money line. So those are I'm gonna give you a UFC ticket. I'm gonna probably do a UFC double. That'll put us at 5 tickets. And I'm waiting for props to drop. I'll pull the odds up here in a second. If any JSB insiders want to pop on this live stream, I'll drop a link in the comment section. If you're not in our Discord and you're watching every day, come on, baby. What are you waiting for? We just passed our year anniversary. We turned 1 last week, and we just broke 616 VIPs today. So if you are a YouTube member and a Patreon and you're not in the Discord, either send me an email or DM me and I'll send you the link. We got a UK card to look forward to. We got the Teo and Raleigh card to look forward to, and we got the Amanda card to look forward to, and we also have the UFC to look forward to. Before we get into this, my advice to you, trust me when I say this, sometimes the best bet we will ever make is the one we don't make. So I know there's Japanese action today. My books, they're not offering it. And after the last, we've been on a tear. Don't ever feel like, you have the fear of missing out because, you don't have the Japanese card on your books. If you are betting on the Japanese card, definitely link up in our Discord because Barry Unboxing is up to his normal awesome breakdown analysis tricks. He's given you his reads on the Japanese card if you are getting those plays. And if you would like me to bring the odds up of the 2 Japanese fights that are on Bet365, I will, and I will do that for you, but I'm not betting on it. That being said, to join our Discord, this link here, boom, will stay pinned in the chat. And now I'm going to get caught up to the chat, and we'll bring up the books, and I'm going to say what's up to the boys now. What's up, Assad? What's up, my guy? How you doing, Cody? That was crazy, man. GK, if GK is in the chat, he brought up some. I wanted to mention this now. I'll mention this now. So if GK hears this on the live, or if he watches this when it's uploaded on our playlist, he's in our Discord. He either mentioned this in the Discord or mentioned this on the live stream. When I got the dog of the week, when I got Flores, I got her at plus 140. The odds have avalanched so much. She's now at 82% return. And GK posed an important question. He asked, well, now, since she's the favorite, and if you didn't get her at plus money, would you still play her? And I've been sitting with that for like 12 hours. I read that last night before I went to bed. And I don't know if I have an answer for him. I don't know if I would take Flores, if I would even play that fight if I didn't catch her at plus 140. I'm trying to figure out a point of it, but it was just, I like when people make me think. It was a great question by GK. Wow, great fights on Contender. Insane, Mike. What's up, Mike? Mike, my guy. Keep bringing those questions, bro. Mike from Melbourne, man. I love, whether it's in person with my clients who I'm teaching how to properly technically do a Zercher squat or properly technically throw a jab, or, us breaking down fights. I love when people ask questions because it allows me to think and have a thought experiment. So the value you bring to our squad is evident. Appreciate you. I got Brito. You got Brito live. That's a great pull, man. And the crazy thing about and so Ichan is talking about the main event on the Contender, Brito versus Fazil. Fazil was coming off a fight in which he beat up my buddy. So I used to work one of the bars I worked at in Long Beach, California, for years, called Lapa Lapa. Jake Babian's, his name's Jake Babian, the Barbabian. He is a Long Beach kid, born in Hawaii, but his family famous in Belmont Shore, California, Long Beach, California. So I've known Jake for a long time, and he fought Fazil, and Fazil just main evented, and he was the slight favorite. And Brito, great fight. Brito was probably, as you can see, Brito was down on the cards in the 3rd round. And Fazil is one of these pressure forward bullies, and he talks shit to you the entire time, and his fan base talks shit to you the entire time. I think he's from Kurdistan. One of these guys who is polarizing. He knows what he's doing, marketing himself online, calling people out, and he got starched. And that just shows you the brutality of combat sports, how humbling it is. You don't have to main event a Contender Series event or even be a pro fighter to understand how humbling combat sports is. You know what I'm saying? I always go back. It's why I don't call any fighters bums. Unless you're in there, it's brutal, man. Like, Fazil talked all that shit, and just the empathy in me. You got to feel for that guy. Obviously he talks a lot of shit. At the same time, man, this kid's going for his dream, and in a fight he was winning. That knockout punch by Brito, it reminded me, even though the positioning was opposite, if you remember Cody Garbrandt when he knocked out Rafael and Sunsao at the end of, I think it was the 1st round. I know Sunsao had his back up against the octagon, and Cody was in front of him, but Cody slipped. And if you remember, he slips and throws his hook over the top, and Sunsao didn't see it. Now, this was a little bit opposite, but in the same sequence. Brito had his back against the octagon and slipped and then threw his right hand. Equal results, though. Beautiful knockout. The card was crazy. Johnny, what's up? Teo, money line. Now I think he might stop. What's up, Henry? Good chat last night. We were on, during our live stream. And guys, if you're in the Discord, upon your recommendation, I did start a new channel in the Discord called Betting Strategies, because if you remember, yesterday we were talking about making adjustments in terms of strategically betting. If you have 4 tickets going into the fight weekend, you could look at my style, how I bet. If you're in our Discord, you know all my tips. I'll never throw the same bet on more than 2 tickets. So with I have Teo on 2 tickets. I have Teo on the money line, and that's how confident I am in him at least winning. I have him on the money line on 1 ticket, and then I have him on points on the other. So if Teo does win by knockout, I'll lose 1 ticket, but I'll still be live in the other one. It's not, that's why I'm not putting Teo on points on both tickets. Do you see what I'm saying? So Teo hasn't knocked anybody out since 2022, Pedro Campa. Teo's not a puncher, never really been a puncher. Teo, at this stage of his career, he's not a guy who's really going to punch with you. People are saying he struggles off of the back foot, but Raleigh isn't a guy who's going to pressure him. Raleigh's not really known for being a volume punching front foot guy anyway. So if there is a front foot game and somebody pushing the pace, I'd expect it to be Teo. And then Raleigh's going to, sit back and try to counter him. But I'm expecting levels. If you guys haven't seen my breakdown, prediction, and analysis of Teo versus Raleigh, go to my playlist called Fight Predictions. Stats Don't Lie. You'll see it. I don't know who this. I don't know why this is the case, Mike. But yeah, this is insane. Like I said, I got her a plus 140, and we talked about this yesterday. This, my friend, these are the odd fluctuations. This is called an avalanche. You rarely ever see this. So Auntie Tortina started at a plus 180. I didn't see her at a plus 180. I got her when she was about here at plus 140, and now she's chalk. And Mortensen, the Dane, started at 42% on the return, 47%, and she's gone all the way to plus 108. It's a valid question GK asked, and I guess I don't have to answer that because I'm not a guy who flip flops. Like once my boots are dug in, like literally, I put my Flores bet in on Sunday. As soon as I saw those odds, I was like, "Shit, this is worth." She's at plus money with her style. Boom, I think she's a 2-time champion. This will allow her to be a 3-time champion. She comes from a good camp. She's super motivated, and she's going against a girl, and this Danish girl who is young. She's only 24. She's on the way up. She could punch a little bit. By no means has the pro experience. I think Flores's volume and just pace and pressure is going to bother her. And people are talking about the Dane's power. Now, in her last fight, she fought a girl who pretty much had fought nobody. It is what it is. She could look. If Flores loses, shout out to the Dane. You give me Flores at plus 140, though, I'm going all in. So I am a full unit invested in my dog. I've been telling you guys that all week. I'm standing on business, always 10 toes down. And, it's an important question. I'm trying to figure out a solution logically moving forward. If I'm what does that mean, Johnny? Like you smash her full unit at plus 140. The odds have shifted. Now she's at 83% chalk, and you said you wouldn't play her. How does that make sense? Well, for me, it makes sense because in the philosophies of betting, at least what keeps my lights on and what pays the bills now, how I've grown this community organically, and you can check the receipts if you're new, is I make my money finding underdogs. That's how I butter my bread. And I like to think I don't force it. It's not like I'm trying to play plus 300. You guys have seen me be patient with it. I didn't play a dog in boxing. I didn't play a dog last week. And at one time we hit 17 dogs in a row, 17 weeks in a row. So, the receipts speak for themselves. When I saw her at a plus 1, I was like, boom, that's my dog. So psychologically, if I saw her 83%, it's hard for me to go back and answer what I would have done. what my reaction would have been. And it goes back to, as a bettor, I think the more you guys do this, the more success you have over time. You guys will notice like this, there's an intuitiveness about it. You know, in your wins or your reads or your early lays, you'll see over time. I picked up on that. Or, oh, I'm good at that. There is a bit of an intuition about it. I don't talk about it a lot because in the betting community, a lot of people will talk about like, I had a vision or I have a dream, or they get conspiratorial. I'm not like that. I live my life based on logic. But intuition is a real instinct all humans have. Some people either use it, tap into it, some people don't. And without getting too esoteric or spiritual, some people believe that the more free you are in your life, the less stress you have, the more sort of aligned you are to whatever your mission in life is supposed to be, your intuition is a little bit more present and clear. Believe that if you want. I think there is a little bit of that in betting. What's up, boys? Johnny, can you talk about my Ellie fight? Few folks talk about not taking her because of her physique. Yeah, she's 4'11". She's a tortina. She doesn't have long arms. Watch her fight. Look, if you guys want to watch my tape on, and this makes sense to me, and I think this is relevant here. Watch my breakdown of Brandon Figueroa and Nick Ball. And in the breakdown of Brandon Figueroa and Nick Ball, when everybody was taking Nick Ball, Americans were, Brits were. In my stats online, I told you why I like Figueroa. And how this is related is I talked about Nick Ball's previous fight with Sam Goodman. And I felt like I saw flaws in Nick Ball's game defensively in the pocket that Sam Goodman was taking advantage of. And Sammy was a smaller guy coming up from 22 to 26. Sammy didn't win the fight, but I felt like I had a read on a flaw that I feel Figueroa was going to be able to take advantage of in the pocket, considering Figgy's strengths, that lead hook, his size, him liking to fight in the pocket. And it took a while, but we not only smashed Brandon on the money line at plus 300, I also picked the knockout. We got the knockout late. Why I like Flores in this matchup is because what I saw in the tape with Flores versus Ellie Scottney. Ellie Scottney is worlds above her opponent, Mortensen. Ellie Scottney, she, two of the cards had it, I think 99, 91, maybe 190, and one scorecard had it 96, 94. And when you watch the fight, you never see Ellie in trouble. And this is a girl who's skilled on the outside, on the inside, who could punch, is good defensively. She has a good jab. She has good power. She's always in shape. She's young. This is Ellie I'm talking. And Flores was making her uncomfortable. It wasn't like Ellie was winning rounds comfortably. She was struggling with the pace, pressure, tempo, pace. And Flores throws punches at awkward angles. She dips. She's always moving. And so that, and then you watch what Ellie said after the fight. Watch what Ellie looked like after the fight. Flores could punch a little bit too. And it's her determination. And you give me a 32-year-old Mexican fighter, male or female. In this case, she's female, who's a former world champion, who's having an opportunity to get another shot at being a world champion, who just happens to weaponize her cardio. And I'm talking her cardio isn't like, you just watch the Scottney fight, you'll see what I'm talking about. I feel that her package right now at 32 versus Mortensen's inexperience on the pro level is going to drown her. And this is going to sound crazy. I'm also flirting with the idea. I'm flirting with the idea of playing this prop. I'm flirting with this. And if I do this, I'll let you know. But I'm so convinced. Like, I love this matchup for her so much. And when I watch Mortensen, she gets a little loopy. She defensively, she's a little bit loose. She's nowhere near as put together technically as Ellie Scottney. So sometimes we've seen fighters who, with less than 10 pro fights, with immense pressure by a vet, crumble. Did you guys watch the Jazza Dickens fight versus Albert Badr Gaziev? They fought in Turkey, I think, last October. You saw a guy in Badr Gaziev who was a 4-1 favorite, and at the beginning of the fight, you see a guy technically everything looks sharp, everything looks sound, and then he started getting touched, and Jazza started putting a pace on him, and then all that technique starts to fall apart a bit. And then when that falls apart for a kid who's used to having things his way, everything falls apart. And then you got a guy in Jazza who stopped him. I could see that. I could see Flores drowning her. So it's a bit of a crazy thought, 575. But with her work rate, dude, with her work rate, I could see her buzzing Mortensen. I could see one of these standing. So I'm not saying I'm playing it yet, but I might. If I'm feeling froggy, I'll let the boys in the Discord know. I might play Auntie Tortina by stoppage. Henry Williams and Teo has one knockout in 6 years. Pedro Campo, yeah. D-Law, Mickey, just want to say much love to you and the guys in the Discord. I haven't interacted much, but watching the fights together as fun as it gets. Appreciate you, brother. D-Law, Mickey, appreciate you, communicating. We appreciate you, all the support, all you guys, man. Just because you guys aren't interacting, we know you're there. We started this from scratch, and there's over 600 of us now. And like, I bet you on there's fights tonight, D-Lo, and I don't have action on them, but I guarantee one of the boys will be streaming the Japanese fights in our chat, and there'll be like almost 100 people in there watching. So it's really about it, and it's what my goal was from jump, is to build a community of guys who love boxing, people who love boxing, because we have some women in there too. Boxing is an international language. We have guys from Russia, Mexico, Cuba. I live in Australia, like all over the world. If I showed you the statistics, and boxing is our language. That's what that, you know what I'm saying? That's the language we speak. Boxing. Maybe that's a t-shirt. There's my guy. Silent agreement. Jay, when are you coming on, big dog? I know that you're busy this week. I think you said with work. But if you want to jump on one of my lives, feel free. Guys, if you follow Keith Moore Boxing on YouTube is coming on and doing a collab with me. I'll be collabing with him in 2 days. I just want to throw that out there. Jay reminded me, talking to Jay about him. So if you're not following More Boxing, do it. He is a strength coach like myself. He does similar content like myself. And I feel, it'll be me meeting him for the first time too. So it'll be one of these cool little collabs. I like the work he does. Definitely still take my Ellie, because when you break down the fight, there's a pretty clear pathway for her to win. The odds just made us look at it closer. Mike, I appreciate you. Doing some film study on Victor versus Russell fight, becoming more confident in the two-step parlay. Yeah. So Winston, I have Antonio and Teo on the money line on one ticket, and it pays great. And then I have Teo on points and Amanda by knockout on a separate ticket. But you can do what you want. Let's see what Teo and Antonio are paying right now on a double. And guys, this is whatever your bankroll is. Let's say it's your first bet, and I would tell like, Johnny, here's $50. What can we do? I was like, all right. So let's turn the $50 into $100, and we'll leave it in there, and we'll build it week to week. So I have a client who started with 50, and I have her at 1,300 now. So her goal is 5,000. I keep trying to talk her into cashing out. I'm like I'm stressing out. I was like, bitch, we're at 1,300 now. Like, let's cash out. She's like, no, she's trying to pay for her birthday party. I was like, we started with $50. You are at 1,300. Let's cash out. She's like, no. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna gatekeep you. But that is a rule that I live by. If your betting account if you have an amount that you've won and it's enough to pay for something, I would pay for something. You want to it's another habit nobody talks about from a betting perspective, is the psychology of betting, is that so many people will win and never have anything to show for, because they're just doubling down. They'll have 5 or 6 wins, and then they'll bet it all, and then they lose it all, and they have to keep starting over. It's a toxic cycle. You need to develop a system to where, as I was building my bankroll a couple years ago, my mindset was, as soon as I could pay my cell phone off, as soon as I could pay my car, as soon as I could pay my mortgage, as soon as I could pay my quarterly gas bill, like whenever that amount was, I'm cashing out. And then things like that. Because nothing sucks more than hitting that plus 400 dog and you're up, and then you double down on a plus 200 and you lose and you have nothing to show for. So keep that in mind. It's the same effort you guys put into your film study and research, you should also put into developing strategies on how to successfully always, be up. Oh yeah, my bad. I got sidetracked. Let's see. So if you take Teo, so Antonio's 70%, Teo's 42. Plus 141. Guys, I still love this. Like, if you guys are in our Discord, and it's something that I don't broadcast, but I'm broadcasting here, and you ever want to know how sure, if that's a thing, how Johnny, how sure are you that this ticket's gonna hit? I'm probably gonna tell you I'm never sure, like, on any bet. This shit's so volatile. Like, my mindset is always, this is why I never say there's locks, like all that, none of that shit exists. All of that is just rhetoric to kind of sell. So I'm never sure on anything. But if you want to kind of get an insight to my psyche of betting, go to my slips and see when I posted them. Then you'll be able to tell. If you're like, damn, it's Monday and Johnny posted his dog on Sunday, 8 days before the fight, that fool, he likes this bet. Or he already posted the short parlay in his Monday, and my books don't even have this out yet. Johnny likes that bet, that sort of thing. So it's kind of like the bets I'm waiting on to still place. Full transparency is I'm waiting for odds to drop on Avius Griffin. I'm waiting for odds to drop on George Littard. So I'm not getting. I mean props. I'm not getting props yet. I want props to drop on the Avius Griffin fight. I'm waiting. I want props to drop on the Jimmy Sains fight. I'm waiting. The George Litter fight. I'm waiting. Carlos Utria fight. I'm waiting. If I could get Antonio Russell on points, what I'm gonna do is probably do a sneaky. Like, obviously we know how volatile prop plays are. I used to do this maybe 6 months ago, and like I would do like 4 leg props, and they would be kind of crazy odds, plus 1400. And 3 out of 4 would hit, and then I kind of got tired of getting trolled. I had to make adjustments. You don't know shit about boxing. It's like, bitch, that's a plus 1400, dude. You know how fucking hard, it's a plus 1400 for a reason. So what I've gotten better at doing is tailing it back to only give, like, I still double your money with all of my picks, but I have learned to be a little less riskier in what I'm giving to the VIPs. And usually if I'm going to play like a moonshot or something that's a plus 1200, I just give it away for free because it's riskier. You know what I'm saying? The bets for the VIPs are the ones that, like, my bankroll's on. But I like Avius Griffin by knockout if I could get it. I like Gary Antonio on points if I could get it. I like George Littard by knockout if I could get it. I would play those 3 if I could get it. I think George Littard is a level above. He's fighting a kid named Morello who's never fought out of Italy, who's coming up from 54. George is a big 160. Who is this? Subgenre, we play sneaky. There we go. And the chat could read my mind. No, like, a lot of these guys, in my opinion, are in favorable matchups. I'm just checking the props, Tipkin. I'm not getting them yet. But to answer your question, yeah. It is only Wednesday. I expect, we could expect props to drop by Probably tomorrow. Guys, we're 30 minutes in. We're floating between 60 and 70 in here. Could you like this video? We'll keep this thing going. Mayeli is a Mexican journey woman, overweight, out of shape. I wouldn't. She's a two-time champion. She's only lost twice. I wouldn't even say she's out of. She's definitely not out of shape. You got to watch her fight. Yeah, Henry, this is not this is not a legit take on Mayeli. She's not a journey woman. She's a former world champion 2 times. She's out of weight and out of shape. She's definitely never going to win a modeling contest, but she's definitely not out of shape. She's just watch her. She's so fit. It's insane. I call her the Auntie Tortina. It's insane. And she could punch, though. Do you think Tom Cali? No, I don't think Tom Cali can upset Jimmy Sains. Without taking too much time on this fight, it's interesting that if you ask the Brits, and I think Eddie, I don't know where you're from, Ed. I know you're an OG, though, big dog. It's kind of like Jimmy Sains is one of these guys. He's a big, young, aggressive southpaw. You know, how old's Jimmy now? 25, dude. He's still learning on the go. 12-0, 10 knockouts. He fights Asaze and fights him in a close fight. And like Asaze's tough, man. I mean, he's never gonna be a world champion. So you have Jimmy who stops Troy Coleman. And look, this isn't my only reasoning, but if you're looking for an upset and you need to talk yourself out of taking Sains to lose, if let's say you like Cowling and you're looking for a way to talk yourself out of taking Cowling, start here. They have a common opponent. Jimmy a year ago fought Troy Coleman and knocked him out in the 4th. Tom Cowling fought Troy Coleman and lost. You know, so like I said, that's not my only reasoning. But when you're doing your research, I think for anybody with maybe betting on Cowling, start there. Start at Cowling and Sains' common opponent, Troy Coleman, and watch both of those fights. And it's not like they fought within months of each other. Jimmy stopped Coleman, dominated him, and Cowley lost to him. And then make a decision. Gary, Antonio, Russell, Mayeli are both at -115 in the U.S. A 2-leg parlay with both of them might be the move. Yeah. My books here with Gary hasn't moved much. He's been around 70 to 77% pretty much all week. I haven't seen much money coming. Like, it doesn't seem like the line's even moving on my end here. Let's check. It's moving a bit. Okay. Okay, so Santillan started. Wow. The odds freaking flipped. I did not see Gary when he was an underdog. Did anybody? I swear my books weren't showing this. July. I swear. I'm actually salty. I feel like I should have picked up on this. So my book says on July 31st, Gary Antonio was a +120. Wow, that one's. I didn't see it. I didn't even see this fight until this week. But there you go. The odds have shifted. That's another one where they flip-flopped. And I agree with you. I like the double. Are both 150 in the U.S. The Victor guy lost his legs, agility, and the guy who beat Russell had very agile legs, plus Victor guy punches like he's swimming when he gets tired. Well, the guy who beat Gary, did you watch the fight? It was stopped due to a cut. And they fought the first time, and it was stopped in the first round due to a headbutt. So it's really not like Gary's loss definitely has an asterisk to it. And Victor saying, I said in the live streams this week, And at this stage of the game, if you're looking for me to do Stats Don't Lie videos on every fight, I'm not going to do, like, I do them on fights that get me excited. Because if you watch my breakdown that I uploaded yesterday of Teo and Raleigh, you'll see the production I put into it. I do like a short story. I use proper filming equipment, editing, music. I like doing it. It's a creative process for me, but it takes a long time. And when I was building my channel, it's kind of how I built my channel from scratch, doing stories like that. At this stage of the game, if you want me to break down a fight that I'm not going to do a Stats on Live video on, I do it on the live stream. So I said yesterday, Victor Santillan, if he was a puncher, if he had more power in his lead hand, if he had a sharper jab, maybe I would consider a path to victory. I just don't see him having anything that Antonio hasn't seen before that he won't be able to deal with. I think Antonio is the better boxer. He's the sharper guy. He's gonna have the better feet. He's gonna use the entire ring. I think Antonio on points is the move. If I could get a prop, Amanda 7-12 dropped to plus 260 from 450. So the only bet on Amanda I'm playing is her by knockout. I got her at 56%. Let's see the bet. Guys, you do know the narrative of Amanda versus Mansoor, right? You guys saw my Instagram posts. I was telling you guys earlier in the week about the history behind this. I talked about it yesterday on my live stream. So this card was built for Amanda to break the knockout record, Christy Martin's knockout record. And this opponent, a 5'2" opponent, has been stopped multiple times, is put there for Amanda to stop her. It's also 12 rounds instead of 10. And I got this at $1.55. It's $1.39. What is 7-12 paying? I'm pairing Amanda on by knockout and Teo on points in a prop. So Amanda 7-12. Bro, that's plus 270. That's an amazing bet. So you're saying, is it still playable? Mate, I'm going to play that right now. Thanks. I didn't even know this was a prop. That's insane. I'm not going to go full unit. 7-12. So it was paying plus 350. Look at the 1-6. People just think she's going to steamroll her. Look at that. This is the crazy shit. Could you imagine laying a heavy plus 115 for Amanda to get a knockout? They're thinking this shit's gonna happen quick. Interesting. Yeah, so that I think both are good plays. I definitely think both are playable. For me, if here are my only unplayable plays generally. I talked about yesterday. We do have sometimes you bend the rules. Like I'll rarely ever play anything under $1.10 on the money line. Right? It's just unplay like Amanda's $1.04 unplayable. I rarely ever play a knockout prop that's under $1.50 just for the risk, right? There are exceptions. Terramona, the Aussie card. You know, when we're creating our plus money tickets, we took Terramona by knockout, which only paid us. No, we took Terramona 1-2, which paid us plus 140, which was crazy. Us maybe plus 180. And then we played Zarafa by knockout. Like Moses Ituama's knockouts are always like plus like 60% return, if that. There are exceptions. But whenever I see a prop and it's plus money of any sort, my philosophy is if you like it, that's 100% playable. Yo-yo to win by decision seems nice. If I see a stoppage, it'll be late in the 6-12. Is it a 12 rounder? No, it's a 10 rounder. Yo-yo versus Veron is only 10 rounds. Guys, Veron is being brought up from a smaller weight class for this fight. And I'm not getting props yet. But this kid's a beast. This dude's an animal. His coach is in our Discord, Coach Bermudez. A worry I have with Flores is her getting caught on the way in. It'd be interesting to see how Morrison likes fighting on the back foot. Tortina on that Warrior juice. Yeah. I got Rolly on a little parlay for $10. But not gonna lie, it's a heart bet. I get it, mate. Mile, I get it. But I do think he got a chance to probably get a round or two. You know what, Mile? What enabled Raleigh to beat Ryan? That early knockdown, getting on him early. Raleigh needs to be the bully early. He needs to land something significant early to get Teo's respect and neutralize any sort of offense Teo might have planned regarding, scoring points, dictating range and pace. Now, from a boxing skill set perspective, from a versatility perspective, from a deep bag perspective, I put Teo 2 levels above Ryan Garcia. To me, Ryan Garcia is pretty basic. He does a few things well, but versatility isn't one of them. Now, they do have parallels, in my opinion. Both, for me, have psychological questions, which I think are pretty evident. Now, watching Teo this fight week, seeing his training, I think he switched on. I think we're going to see a good performance. I think he's in a good spot to become a 3-division world champion. With this DAZN deal on his mind, his dad and himself. Sane's going to whoop Cali ass. Sane's got this fight. Same. Sane's got this fight to Sane's is above Bowen. I agree. Yeah, I'm waiting for the knockout play. Jimmy will definitely go for the knockout. Osaze's awkward too, man. Derek Osaze is like, there's certain, he's not as awkward as, um, who's the kid who went to Canada and almost destroyed all of our parlays. Big old rangy 32-year-old southpaw crafty vet who totally beat the piss out of our the Eye of the Tiger boy, and he got screwed on points. Leonard, his name's slipping my mind. I do too many of these lives. He's not as awkward as him, but do you remember how tricky the kid, like the guy Zarafa just fought, the kid who was 25 out of 26 knockouts. His only loss was he got stopped against the kid who just got beat by the Albanian sniper. He was awkward. There's certain veterans, certain styles. It's not always at certain levels. It's hard to stop guys because they know they know you're trying to stop them. But I think when you see guys stop guys, it's a level, it's a gap, and this is going to be a gap. If we win off physique, Ali would have starched Lawrence today. Denny would have beat Walsh. Oh yeah, that comment about Tortina. Jamal Harvey is in a tough matchup. What is up with this, man? I totally disagree with this comment, bro. Eddie, I totally disagree with this comment. So, Jamal Harvey is fighting a kid who's a 13-1 dog. Let me show you who he's fighting. Hammett Delbell. I think this is criminal matchmaking. I, I don't think this kid should even be in the ring with Jamal Harvey. So that like I want to see Jamal Harvey tested. Jamal Harvey's going to steamroll this dude, bro. Like, there's one thing with being a Mexican fighter at the world level. There's another thing with coming through the club ranks. I mean, who knows if some of these fights even took place? Yeah, Jamal's going to steamroll this kid. Like this kid is a legit skilled fighter, and he's just getting started. He's fast, twitchy. He can punch. This is a spot for him to go viral. I actually commented on this fight earlier in the week when I saw who they paired him up with. I was like, I mean, granted, Jamal only has 3 pro fights, but yeah, this is criminal matchmaking. When I look at Raleigh versus Teo, somehow he looks now. Back on your comment, do you remember when people didn't know who Anthony Cuba was? And people thought that Carmel was going to steamroll Cuba? And some of the guy, like maybe somebody in the chat knows about Hammett, and I could be wrong. But from what I've seen, I saw a couple clips of some YMCA fights with Hammett. I've seen Harvey fight, for a few years now. I've known about Harvey coming out of Maryland, his amateur career, sparring with high level guys. But I don't think this is Moten versus Cuba. People knew who Cuba was going in that fight. They knew that was going to be close. It's wild to see after that fight because that was Carmel's best. What people know him as a pro for. He is only 20, but since that loss, what Cuba has done, I mean, he needs to definitely get his weight sorted. Missing weight twice in a year is freaking insane. But he's been featured on Pro Box, had some good wins, exciting fighter, and he's only a few years older than Carmel. I definitely don't think Hammett versus Harvey is that in terms of matchmaking. I've talked about it. So we're 47 minutes in, Bill. Go to minute 10. I already talked about it. Sorry, I want to catch up to the chat. Did you see Bilal Fawaz is coming back on it? Nah, is it signed? We're Bilal Fawaz guys on this channel. We've been winning money on him for a few years. The 2 Starboy fights, what he did in his last fight. He's just a guy you want to cheer for. He's the youngest 37-year-old in pro boxing. Nikita, money line next week. Gary Antonio barely fought 2 times. Crazy. I cannot trust this dude. Yeah, you don't have to trust him. I get it. Inactivity is a real thing. But these guys, it's not like they're at strip clubs. They live in the ring. It's part of what they do. You know what I mean? You don't have to be. It's all the boys. I get it. I understand. It's a valid reason to not bet Gary, but I'm leaning on the professionalism of the family, the father, rest in peace, the last name. You always think about what you could expect from Junior and GAR. These kids are samurais. You know what I'm saying? Very disciplined guys, strong to their faith, strong to their family. That says something. It really does in pro combat sports. So for all the inactivity he has had, you then would probably have to agree, though, that the Russell boys aren't taking fights that they don't think they're in a good spot to take. If Antonio felt hesitant, they wouldn't have took this. They wouldn't have taken this fight. Super skilled. Like look at his record. Look at what his loss was. His loss was due to a cut, and then they went to the cards. Johnny, what do you think about a parlay? Teo on points, Antonio on points. Yeah, I like it. I'm not getting the Antonio prop play yet, but if I do get it, because I already have Teo on a point. My Teo points play is Teo on points with Amanda by knockout. If I do get presented with the opportunity to play Antonio prop, I would play Antonio on points, and then I would play Jimmy Sane by knockout. Jimmy Sane by knockout. Antonio by points, and I'm waiting to get a George Littard prop as well. Yes, Littard's gonna smoke Morello. George Littard's good, man. Big, young, strong, athletic, could punch, in shape, confident. He's been tested. I like how they've been matching him. And if anything, I talked about him yesterday on my live stream. He's one of these guys that has talent you could see, but where he falls short is that inexperience of sometimes managing a gas tank, adhering to a game plan, trusting the process, not forcing his backhand, being more patient, all of these sort of things that when you have a younger guy who has a lot of hype around him, who has a lot of gifts, sometimes you have to take that younger fighter and you have to reel him back. And it comes down to being, well coached, and then he has to be well trained and well disciplined. So my frustrations lately when I watch George Littard have nothing to do with his potential. It just has to do with his youthfulness, his eagerness, and sort of his lack of experience. But he's there's no going backwards from here. And I think Morello is. I don't think he's on Littard's level, to be honest with you. Morello coming up from 47. Morello has been knocked down in each of the two last fights. Yeah. Has Morello even been out of Italy? 26-1, 4 knockouts. He's 33. Italy, 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 Italy. When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's amore. He's never been out of Italy. Hey, I found Baron Boxer's Twitter feed on the Gary Russell fight. Why does he write like that? He thinks he's Dan Raphael. Hey, Mutant. I like the way he writes. I like Barium. Barium, in my opinion, even if he wasn't in my group, maybe because I'm a writer myself. I've written books and been published. I think the boxing world needs more minds like that. Somebody who puts time, eloquence into breaking down the sweet science, pays attention to their grammar, speaks with a high intellect, gives an educated breakdown perspective of outcomes on both sides, and more importantly, he has a high hit rate. Barium Boxing's a beast, bro. He thinks he's Dan Raphael. Dan Raphael is a high calorie. I'm not going to judge Dan Raphael. He's an OG in the game. He's a writer. He doesn't, yeah, I don't know Dan Raphael personally. He's not in my group. And I know I've seen you troll before, Mutant. It feels like you're kind of salty a little bit. Because I know what you're trying to do, player, but we appreciate you. When the last time an Italian came to the UK and won? When I think about Italy, I do not think about their boxers. I like their women, though. I got me one. And I'm half Italian. Barium is better than... Yeah, John, let him know. Let him know, Magana. These boy... That dude... This dude here... I guarantee... This dude here... John, you know where he comes from. They don't like it what we do. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby. And why do we do what we do when we do hanging out late with no curfew? Let me hear you say, ooh, ah, summertime in the LBC. We got Julius too soon. Moore's coming in. We growing. We up. Let's go. My bad. I think I'm thinking of different Mexican lady than my Ellie. Yeah, bro. Henry, just look at her tape, bro. Just watch my Ellie Flores versus Ellie. I rate Ellie Scotty, man. I think Ellie's good. I was sweating when I saw this matchup. I was like, who is this Tortina who's putting the pressure on Ellie? And I wrote her name down, dude. After I was like, asterisk, Maeli Flores. When she fights again, she'll probably be a dog. Jump on her. Because unless you are prepared at the highest level to deal with that sort of style, you will drown. She's exciting to watch. You were right on a few of your points. She looks out of shape. She's 4'11". She's never gonna win a modeling competition. She's not the youngest. But mate, guy or girl, she has a Hall of Fame cardio. I don't know, like I've watched the 2 fights she fought before Ellie as well doing tape because I had to revisit, and I was like, maybe this was a one and done. No, this is how she fights. She'll get buzzed coming in and clipped, and she never takes a step. It's a very admirable style, and the only way to fight like that at that pace is you have to train your ass off. So that in itself is respectful. And when I get a fighter like that and I find that fighter at plus money, when I've already been impressed in a fighter, I'm jumping all over it. So watch the Scotty fight. Reza Jizza, Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Morello has no path, non-puncher going up and weight to fight the unbeaten low-class fighter at the main. Rizza, he knows what time it is. Calling beating Bowen was good, but how many more times Calling beating young power punchers? Lightning doesn't strike in the same plane twice. Yeah, Bowen. That people keep talking about that Bowen fight. What I mean, they did the common for me. The common opponent, rather than a good win. It's interesting. Maybe we, in the book that we're all writing together as a team, are high level strategies from professional boxing bettors, whatever you want to call it. Where do we rank then when we're working on putting our money in an upcoming fight and you're breaking down the principles? You've watched, you know both careers, you've done your film study. In the hierarchy of importance, what is higher? Said fighter's best win, like who's the best guy they fought, or who's their best win on their resume, or common opponent, and how did each fighter fare in that common opponent? I don't have that answer. I'm not trying to give you an answer. But for me, my answer is the common opponent one, because Bowen is his best win. But that's fine. But within a calendar year, they both have a common opponent. One won by knockout, the other one lost. I know styles make fights, and that doesn't always work. But I think at this level, that says something. We have too many examples why that doesn't work. The whole Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor, Kelly Pavlik thing. Y'all see Virgil was trying to fight. Bro, don't even talk about Virgil. Virgil's going to be 30 soon. Like, talk about it. Oh, God, man. He's 28 going on 29. He's never been a champion. He was supposed to be a champion at 47. He was supposed to unify at 54. Now he's talking about going to 60. I just want to see him fight. Look, every time Virgil fights, I tune in. What is this product they're telling? It's the product they've been selling Virgil as has turned more into a product that you read about rather than a product that you watch. And for me, as old as I am, growing up in the sport, the products that we read about more than the products that we watch generally don't play out as the product that they sold us. I don't know. I mean, the manager's fault. It's the promoters fall. Virgil's unhealthy. I mean, I'm just frustrated with the whole Virgil Ortiz thing. And luckily for me in my community, we don't talk about in and we don't break fights down unless they're a week in front of us. Guido's an Italian about to knock out a Brit. Well, then are you talking Guido Vianetta or Guido Schramm? Guido Schramm, Argentina. Guido Vianetta. Guido's my guy, man. If it wasn't for Guido, though, I would have never taken Kiki to beat Unk. You see what I'm talking about here? So, oh God, man, I cannot believe Kiki made that same freaking mistake against Unk. He gave Unk his only path to victory. Let me come into the front door without a jab. Let me not jab my way in against an old OG strong big ass power puncher. So I'm not jabbing my way in. And then let me slip into his power side. I don't know. It's just kind of my game plan. You know, not like he's never had to pay for that before. Not like we don't have amateur footage of him doing the exact same thing against a big brute power puncher and him doing the exact same thing as an amateur. Not like he worked on it. Not like he was leveling up. I'm going to do the same exact thing. Not like he's an undersized heavyweight that he could get away with taking big shots from bigger guys. But no, I'm just going to come in the front door with no jab. I'm not going to hide it. I might do a little bit of a head feint. And then I'm going to slip right into your power side and just get knocked out cold. And that's what I think about when you bring up Vianetta. I think about Kiki getting starched against Unk. Damn, I'm a petty bitch. B-side Italian. To whomever said Jamal Harvey isn't a tough here, I can assure you he is. Yeah, man. I like Harvey cut, dude. That kid he's 3-0 at this stage of his. Yeah, this isn't Cuba Moten, and I don't even know if Moten's camp had to know Cuba was going to be a tough fight because people in the American domestic scene knew about Anthony Cuba. That's not this though. Hammett versus Jamal is not Cuba versus Moten in terms of competitiveness. Do you think Janibek is really a juicer? Is he really? I like to, and I kind of give the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to call Alam Hunalay a juicer. I know he got popped. I don't even call Ryan, like Ryan got popped. Like these guys we've seen false positives. Look, in this day and age of strength and conditioning supplements, everybody is getting something to take. Put it this way, bro. In 2001, I was a freshman at Pitt playing baseball, and we would have a thing called study tables. Study tables were like making sure that the athletes were, doing their schoolwork so they could be eligible for the season. And at study tables, our nutritionists and our coaches would come by with like supplements to take. This is a cup of this, take these 2 pills, stir this into water, and drink this. And we never asked what it was. I'm not saying that's the case. Do I think Janibek is in some lab like Drago and Rocky IV shooting intravenous exogenous steroids? No, I don't. Do I think Ryan was doing that? I don't either. I don't know. Look, as a guy who played sports my whole life, who still trains, I've been before you guys got to know me, I cut my teeth on social media in the fitness space. I'm talking about like 2000. I started creating content 2015, 2016. I have interviews with like Jay Cutler, a bunch of really famous bodybuilders. Who's the guy from the 70s? Frank. Anyway, I've always been really vocal about not doing steroids, talking to younger guys about, what it does to your endocrine system, what it does to your central nervous system, your hormonal imbalance. You start taking gear, any sort of exogenous testosterone in your late teens, even in your 20s, you're setting your entire life up for being reliant upon these things. Your dick won't work well, your thought processes, your sleep, your heart rate, all these things get affected. So I'm a guy who would do debates on why doing steroids were for pussies and doing gear were for cheaters. And, a lot of guys in my gym, when I had 30 other strength coaches in a place I worked, didn't like me because I would call them cheaters. I'd be like, you guys are fucking pussies. Any guy that's shooting up, you're hiding something. Not from, and the crazy thing about it is, from a competitive edge, if you're a pro athlete and you're playing a non-combat sport, a sport to where you can't you know administer life-changing damage, I kind of get it. Like I don't agree with it, but you're trying to work, pay your family, you're trying to make millions, whatever that is. But if you're like a dude who's trying to do a foot like flex to get bitches, and you're trying to do steroids because you have an insecurity complex, that like I'm call like those are the dudes I used to call out. Like, you guys are freaking pussies, dude. Like that's why, dude. Like we could work through this. That's an inferiority complex. Fighters who pop, I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know what to make of the Canelo tainted meat. I don't know what to make of Conor Benn and the eggs. I don't know what to make of Janabek Elamhanalei with his test. I don't know what to make of Ryan Garcia and his test. I don't know what to make of John Jones. And like, it's not like we're getting video footage of these fools actually shooting up needles. And you know what I'm saying? Like in my head, it's like equipoise, phenoplex, Winstraw, these like OG Gold's Gym steroids, where the tweaky guy in the corner who's there 8 hours a day is selling them out of his gym bag. Nowadays, they're working on things called shelf lives. So a half life, being able to take something and then within a short amount of time, it's out of your system, but you're keeping the benefits. And so that's what they're testing for now. And so that's what they're detecting now is, certain levels of either estrogen or testosterone in your body compared to normal levels for what your age group should be or should look at. And then they're looking at elevated levels of other things as well. So I don't know, man. Yo-yo train with Hector Ramirez in the trenches. Hector Bermudez is in our Discord. That's my biggest flex. I love that Coach Hector's in our Discord. He's a good dude, man. I saw him when he was down. Hector came down here to Sydney when he cornered the kid who fought. Did he corner? Who did Coach corner last time he came to Sydney? It'll come to me. I'm not sold on Yo-Yo. I know, man. Part of me, there is a piece of me that thinks Veron is live, and that if Veron could, withstand that early storm and drag Yo-Yo into the mid to late rounds and then make him uncomfortable and then start pushing him back with some body punching. Does Verone have the durability to hold up? Does Verone have the power to push him back? Does Verone have the hand speed to punch with him? Does Verone have the timing at 160 to win those 50-50 exchanges? Because early on, rounds 1 through 4, Verone is a brave dude. Like, I think we're going to see some 50-50 exchanges, and I totally expect Yo-Yo to win those. We're going to know a lot. This is a fun fight. It is a fun fight. How many punches per round does Verone throw average? Let's check. Francisco Verón and his opponents in active bouts have been noted to average a busy work rate, 70 punches per round. Official comprehensive combat. So, Roman Villa fight, the Raul Garcia fight, 70. I want to see Russell with the weigh-in if he's in shape. Russell money. Jay, when have we ever seen a Russell not in shape? And I think that's just a testament to their work ethic. Like, I put credence in that. I put credence into boxing families, fighters who come from boxing families who were trained, like the Fondoras. Even their mother was what I mean by family, it doesn't necessarily mean the father and mother were professionals or had a pro career. I mean, like, the Fondoras. We obviously know the brother and sister, but they built a compound on their property, and people come to them. They live like samurais. That's a fighting family, the Fighting Fedoras. And there's a younger sister too that I've been told is a beast as well. The Russells, fighting family. That with fighting families, what you could expect are on any fight night, they're going to come prepared. They're going to have a game plan. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be trained. They're going to be focused. They're going to be in shape. They're going to make weight. So those aren't my questions. I think the valid questions would be the inactivity. Yeah, Lerone Richards. I got to catch up with the chat. Jeez, yeah, I'm way behind. I'm way behind. I just fast forward to this. Sorry, Jay, you tweaking about the gift decision to Cali? He was put in there with Bowman to get slaughtered. They're not going to do him any favors, especially with the judging. Anthony Velasquez lost every round. Yes, Henry Williams. Boy, our chat is on fire. You boys know exactly what I'm talking about. It was Velasquez. Springfield. Hey, who's the kid from Mass that came to the UK and beats Conlon? Didn't he fight again? Did he have another fight? Yo-Yo will handle business this weekend, but him and Janibek ever cross paths, I'm taking Janibek. That Drago from Rocky reference was an underrated reference. That was really a jewel within the movie that went over people's heads. And look how long ago that movie was. Yeah, you know what, Fresh BX? This is a little fact for you. That movie, the Rocky 4 training montages in the strength and conditioning community, like one of the communities I'm part of and really vocal in, is the genesis of strength training. When you look at the functional strength training he was doing, Rocky was in the barn. When Rocky was doing farmer's carries, when he was doing the wheelbarrow lifts, deadlifting, the farmer's carries, the crucifix pull-ups, the inverted crunches, all of those things now are staples in strength training. And when we look back, at least in Hollywood, that was the first movie that grouped them together and connected it with a performance sport. So, yeah, there's a lot of levels to Rocky 4, man. I was so obsessed with Rocky 4 as a kid. Me and one of my childhood friends, John Lallo, used to have the Russian national anthem memorized. So on fight night when before Rocky and Drago fought, we watched it so much. We used to sing along with the national anthem. It's insane. Hector Bermudez only trained Velasquez because he's a local Springfield kid. Coach Hector actually believes in Yo-Yo. For sure. No, Hector speaks highly of Yo-Yo, man. What did you think of the performance against Gachet? Do you think that was an early stoppage, or do you think that the referee saved Gachet from a continuous beating? I gave you guys my take on this last week. I actually thought that Gachet was adhering to a game plan. When you look at Gachet's Olympic background, his pro experience, he knew he was coming in undersized. He knew he was going up against a big, young, hungry, strong power puncher, and he was taking a lot of punches, but a lot of those punches were coming off of his high guard. And in my fight breakdown prior to the fight, I said the questions I have with Yo-Yo were, will he be able, if the fight gets prolonged, lengthened out by a guy at the time who had never been stopped? Gachet had never been stopped. And, granted he was 37 years old, my questions were, like, I expect Gachet to have a game plan to lull Yo-Yo into this fight, test him into the deeper later rounds, and we'll get to see Yo-Yo's gas tank. We'll get to see if he falls apart at all. And so when it got stopped in the fourth, man, I felt as a boxing analyst, I was robbed of an opportunity to have some questions answered that I had with Yo-Yo. And you know how pissed I'm going to be if Verone drags him late into like the 9th and the 10th and Yo-Yo fades. And it's a read that I hypothesized on, but I didn't have any real footage to use because the fight got stopped against Gachet. And then that happens. I'll be pissed. Kevin Walsh, Brockton, just won again. Yeah, Brockton in the house. Rocky Marciano, right? Brockton. I would lay off Sands. I think he has a glass chin. 25-year-old, big old, what? Southpaw. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody mutant. I don't think anybody here has a Jimmy Saints poster in the room. You know what I'm saying? I like the value though. Yeah, that look at that line is crashing too. Jimmy started at $1.35. He's down to $1.28. So money's coming in on Jimmy. What do you guys make of the? Do you guys read the odds? Do you guys read the odds fluctuation? Do you pay any attention to that? Like, I'm a fan of data, and you guys. I mean, I have a video series, Stats Don't Lie, so you guys know that. I don't put any I never put 100% credence into just one thing, but I use a bunch of different variables to come to my conclusion. It's an interesting one to look at the odds fluctuations because sometimes you see fights where the odds just don't move. You know, you don't see a lot. Like I bet you this one's Avius Griffin Marinez. It's like look at look at the line here. Nothing. I wonder if we really did some research and we're nerds about it. And over the last, we'll say, if somehow we could develop an AI for the fights in 2026, the fights that we've bet on, we compute our, those fight cards into the AI machine, and then get a percentage of wins and losses of fights in which the odds either fell off a cliff. Like, what are the odds of all the fighters that we've bet on from opening odds that have fallen off a cliff? What are the percentages of those fighters winning? And then of all the fighters that we've bet on where the odds line stayed the same throughout opening until fight night, what's the records of those winning? I would like that stat. I would be interested to see what those statistics would say. The safe bets, George Zoo, right? Yeah. So Nikita, guys, if you guys get the opportunity, load up on Nikita, Callum, and Kira. I said this. I know that some of you boys, wherever you're coming from in the world, don't always get the opportunity to bet on the Aussie cards. The boxing gods are blessing us with our third Aussie card in 4 weeks. We've hit everything the last two. We generally are between 98 and 100% on the Aussie cards. And Callum Peters, 50 cal, Kira Rustin, and Nikita Zoo. We know that Nikita's 27% return on the money line. I'm not getting odds yet on Kira or 50, but when I do, I'm loading up. And I said all month, I'm going heavy on that. Tension and Goodman. Yep. I like tension. I like tension to beat Inoue. And I like Sammy Boy as well in that spot. Agree. Jimmy Saints almost lot. Dude, we Jimmy Saints does not have to be special, guys. He does not have to be special. All Jimmy Saints has to do is beat Tom Cowling. You know? Like we get that. We're not fans of fighters. I don't care if Jimmy Saints is special or not. All I care about is if he beats Tom Cowling. He'll beat Tom Cowling. From there, we move on. And if we see Jimmy fight again in 3 months and our book gives us the opportunity to bet on him, we'll reconvene there. But a guy doesn't have to be special for me to not leave money on the table. I wonder why Cowling hasn't fought since the Bowen fight. It's been practically a year. Matchmakers aren't too eager to put him in there with their prospects. All right. I'm going to do. You guys are the best. We're talking about a 29-year-old kid who's 15-1 with 4 knockouts. Okay? He's 15-1 with 4 knockouts. He wins a split decision against a 7-0. He wins a split decision against a 7-0 Aaron Bowen. And now the narrative in a fight that Cowling was hurt and dropped. So Cowling gets hurt and he gets dropped against a guy who's 7-0, and he wins a split and hasn't fought since. And now the narrative on him is that promoters and matchmakers are hesitant with pairing up their prospects to fight him. That's insane. Okay. Two fights before that. Two fights before that. He fights Troy Coleman. 2 years ago. He fights Troy Coleman, a kid who's 15-5 with 7 knockouts. And he loses. Aaron Bowen, you like him because he stopped Troy Coleman. Troy Coleman also, though, Troy Coleman got stopped against Isaac Hardman. Ozzy in the house. Troy Coleman got stopped against Jimmy Saints. So look, I'm not. I guess I've been doing this too much in terms of like I don't get scared. Like maybe because my bets are already in too, and I understand the questioning, and these are valid questions. Guys, we are talking about domestic British boxing, which it's a product. It's a product we're betting on for sure. So the hesitation I understand on your end. I put my bet in 5 days ago, and I haven't even thought that. Not even one nerve about him losing that fight. I don't pay too much attention to line movements. That's just people putting money on who they like. I'm glad I didn't miss the live, but hey, what's up, Deshaun? Deshaun in the house. I haven't seen Jacques Cousteau in this hole in a while. What did Derek Lewis say? Houston, we in this hole. Depends on how hyped the fight is. If you consistently grab lines in the favorable direction, the bookies keep track and limit you. It means you're sharp. Johnny, what's up, bro? Just getting in. Damn, you guys tapping in an hour and 22 in. Guys, we're almost 90 minutes in. We peaked at 95. There's 82 in now. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Have you said Nakia? Hold on. You said, yeah, Nikita Callum. So they're on the Aussie card. Kira Rustin, Callum Peters, Nikita Zoo. Check your books. I'm loading up on that 3-way. Next week. They're fighting next week. Crazy you bring up AI. I just seen a fantasy fight of Floyd for Sugar Ray today. I don't know how I feel about it either. I'm not like, did you watch the whole fight? Maybe I'm old, boys. I'm an old head. Like when there's anything that's new that gets invented, I'm the type of dude who pushes back initially by nature, and then I'll come to, you know. I can't sit there and watch an AI Sugar Ray versus Floyd. That would be that would go against my ethics. How sure are we about Maoli Flores? What's up, Ricky? Ricky! Rah! I'm never sure, bro. I am going full unit on it, though. I'm never sure. What do you think about Teo moneyline? Ituama versus Hergovich under 7.5. I'm scared of Teo on points. I can see him getting there. So I do like Teo moneyline on one ticket. I do have Teo on points on another ticket. You just got to play your percentages, bro. Teo hasn't stopped anybody since 2022. His last stoppage was Pedro Campo. He's never fought at 147. Now, he's not a big puncher. He's not a one-punch guy. He's not a guy who's even punching with his opponents anymore. Raleigh, when he has, Raleigh's only 2 losses are by stoppage. That is the pushback. Raleigh's been stopped twice, Pitbull and Tank. And Teo's only 2 losses are on points. George and Shakur. I don't think Teo is going to stop Raleigh, though. I think it's going to be a silent agreement. Brother, do you have a discount code? I'm currently buying VIP. Discount code. Dude, check my price pack. Josh, I get trolled on Twitter because they say I'm a swindler because the access to my Discord is cheap. I didn't know what people were charging. I don't. My whole goal is to grow a community. I'm not going to charge like it's like $7, bro. That I think that's a discount. There's guys on Twitter who get pissed at me because they charge like $50 or $60 for their tips, and I was like, that's not what we're doing here. We're a betting academy, so it's $7 a month. You know what I'm saying? And it gets you when you get into the Discord, you'll understand what it's all about. You'll never have to pay for a pay-per-view fight again. We stream all the fights. It's not just boxing and MMA. Football's coming up. We have golf, tennis, soccer. The World Cup was slapping in the Discord. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's really an educated community, man. People are sharing film study, notes, leans, takes. It's amazing, bro. Isaac Harmon, I know he's a legend. I like Isaac Harmon, the head splitter, the head splitter. Yeah, Isaac didn't retire. He's fighting again. He's fighting in those 4 ounce. What's that league called up in Queensland? Is it called 4 ounces to freedom or something? Still can't believe they made bro. Andrew Savidra just won me money. I can't believe we got Denzel Bentley at plus money against Savidra. So maybe we have to give Isaac a shout out because if Endry didn't do what he did against Isaac, because people were thinking Endry Savidra was gonna go and just stop Denzel. I was like, you guys are smoking on. Hey, I watched Endry Savidra go life and death with a kid that I was present at the gym when he walked in for the first time before he had ever boxed Cesar Mateo Tapia. So I watched Andres Savidra go life and death with Mateo Tapia. I was like, Denzel Bentley's gonna handle this dude. Shout out to Denzel Bentley, dude, winning us a lot of money. Opinions on Mark. Look, you guys know how I feel about marksman. I'm high on him. I do want to give Christian the benefit of the doubt before I give you my take. I do rate marksman. I put him up there with one of these sort of like diamond in the rough prospects in America that kind of came out of nowhere in terms of people talking about him, similar to the kid from Zuffa from Oakland, California, the kid who beat Pay Benito, and the kid who beat Merriweather, Tony Hurst Jr. I can't wait till he fights again. There's a lot of guys out there. I can't. What happened to my boy Valsaint? Do you guys know about Valsant? Here's one of my favorite prospects who never fights in America. I wish this dude would be active, boy. If you've never seen this dude fight, and I know we watch a lot of fights here at the JSB, but this is a young, big southpaw, 6'1" puncher, aggressive. He's just. When's the last time Valsaint fought? Over a year ago. Man, I want this dude active. Because when you see him fight, man, you're like, who is this dude? But yeah, if you guys ever, it's a name that I would write down. We got. I'll give you my take on Marksman next week. But if you don't know Tony Hurst Jr., you probably know him now by Zuffa. Daryl Valsaint, man, that dude is fun to watch too. I want to see him active. If I subscribe, can I cancel any month? Nah. Yeah, bro. It's month to month, bro. It's month to month. Could you imagine if I said no? No, you shall never leave. Johnny, I know how I would beat you in sparring. When you throw that little jab left uppercut, I'll time you with it right. Boom, Johnny. Just like Gary. I like it, mutant. You only see me shadowing though. You don't know my strategy or game plan. I'm the type of dude that I'm gonna weaponize my cardio. I'm gonna throw that jab out there. I'm gonna invite you in. And what I like to do is with fighters, I don't know how big you are. I'm 5'11", 185 pounds, and I pride myself on my gas tank and my clinch work. So what I'm gonna do as soon as the fight starts and we set this up, we're gonna meet at the middle, and I'm leaning on you. I'm gonna eat your jab. I'm gonna go high guard, whatever you hit me want to, and I'm gonna lean on you. I'm gonna force you to fight me in the pocket. And as soon as I feel you wilting, as soon as I feel you giving a little bit away, I'm gonna turn it on. And it's just gonna be this slow burn. I'm gonna rip the body. I'm gonna put my head on your chest. I'm gonna switch sides, rip right side over the top. Boom, boom. And as I exit, I'm not gonna exit 2 steps. I'm gonna circle to the right and keep leaning on you. And the minute I see you breathing out of your mouth, I'm going to drown you. This is how I fight. Denzel Bentley, I'll never forget him for losing. How'd that happen? Hey, how dare you bring up Nathan Heaney here? How Dare you bring up here? How the hell, guys? How the hell does Bentley lose to Heaney and Heaney loses to Jerome Warburton? Oh, God. I wish you wouldn't have brought that up, bro. What's up, Angel? Guys, I got to lock it up soon. We're 90 minutes in. There's still 80 of you guys in here. JSB community, man, hands down the best community in the world. Mateo Terry, pretty good kid for you helping to start boxing. I didn't help him. I was at Bondi Boxing Club when he walked in. I watched Tony Del Vecchio molded him. Shout out to Tony Del Vecchio. Tony Del Vecchio took him under his wing, molded him, built him up. Now he's a long, tall, slick, rangy puncher, gritty. Um, I think he's still ranked in the top 15. You know, I thought Mateo beat Savidra. And Mateo was like a 4-1 dog. I don't Johnny, you really do fight like Zepeda or I grew up with Kelly. It's kind of how I was taught. I told you. Southside Boxing Club, Jack Lowe, Southside of Youngstown, Ohio. It's how I was trained. That's how and this is kind of like fighters when I see fighters who do that, I talk about it. Zepeda does that. Because there's no scarier place to ever be in the world than in a fight and you have no gas tank. And so, as a young buck, and even my days coaching here in Sydney, being the only boxer at a public gym, I told you guys this before. All the PTs, so many PTs early on, will want to box me and spar me, and I would have one rule. I was like, all right, if we spar, we're going 5 3-minute rounds. I was like, because everyone was, let's how can we go? Can we spar? How long do you want to go? A minute. I was like, nope, hell nah. If you're sparring me, we're doing 5 3s. Let's go. And we're gonna see if you really like the box. We're gonna really see if you know how to box, because my favorite thing about boxing and sparring is watching somebody wilt, and that's what I like that, because that's the psychology of the sport. That's what, like, weaponizing your car. That's why I stay in shape, boys. I live my life like I got a fight coming up. I'll be 40. I turned 44 in April. I ran a 10K earlier. I power lifted earlier. I'm gonna do one more count. I train like 3 times a day. I eat right. I drink. My whole mindset has always been, Johnny, you must be prepared for if something happens to you in your life, whether it's a heartbreak, a death in the family, incurable, God forbid, disease, some horrible news that generally would break the average person. I need to be mentally strong, physically strong for when that happens, because it's going to happen. It's life. You know what I'm saying? And I need to have my mind and body in the best possible position to deal with that sort of adversity. And so that's why I do what I do. And I'm going to do what I do, baby. On that note, we up. I'll see you guys. That was fun, boys. Let's go. Let's get this money, though.